Hey folks, today we're going to tie up a black caddis, which is essentially the same fly as the elk hair caddis but with different coloration. So I'll start by securing my thread to the hook and wrapping to the end of the shank. Now I'm going to mount a length of fine gold wire that will be used for the rib. And I'm then going to work the thread forward and stop at about the 1/3 point of the shank before the hook eye. Next I'm going to mount a grizzly hackle feather with the tip extending beyond the eye of the hook. And once that's mounted, I'm going to return my thread towards the rear of the shank and stop a few wraps shy of the mounted wire. Then I'm going to create my dubbing noodle, and we're going to be using black dubbing for this fly. I'm going to leave some bare thread between the hook and the start of the dubbing so that I can continue wrapping towards the gold wire before the dubbing hits the hook shank. And after a couple wraps, my dubbing starts to hit, so I can start wrapping towards the hook eye. Trying to build up a slightly tapered body as I wrap this dubbing. And I think I'm a little short on dubbing, so I'll need to add some more. And the body looks good, so I'll next move the thread in front of the hackle feather and get ready to palmer the hackle. Now I'm going to reverse palmer this hackle by starting my wraps underneath the hook and coming up from behind the hook. Trying to space these wraps as evenly as possible while angling the feather slightly towards the rear of the hook. And once I reach the ribbing material, I'll lift the feather vertically and transfer the hackle pliers to my left hand while maintaining tension. I then take the wire in my right hand and secure the feather against the hook, not the body material. I'm using as much tension on the wire as possible to secure the feather to the hook. Next, I'm going to start counterwinding the wire towards the hook eye. And by counterwinding, I mean in the opposite direction that I wound the hackle. So with the wire, I am coming up from the bottom of the hook and going in front of the fly and over the top, which is the opposite of what I did when I was palmering the hackle. And as I'm winding this wire, I'm weaving it back and forth, doing my best to trap as few hackle fibers as possible. And I'm also trying to space the wraps as evenly as possible as they cross the hackle wraps. And now that I've reached the tying thread, I'm going to secure the wire to the shank. Then just twist the wire until it snaps off. And at this point I can also pull off the hackle tip. Next I'm going to mount the wing material. I'll start by positioning my thread just before the start of the dubbed body. I'm now going to size up my stacked deer hair. I want the wing to extend just beyond the end of the hook. So I've now got the wing bundle pinched in my right hand at the point where I will mount it to the hook. So the wing ends up being the length that I want it. But I can also take this opportunity to size the butt ends of the hair that will become the head of the fly. The way I do that is to transfer the hair to my left hand while maintaining that pinch point that I established and placing the hair once again on top of the hook shank at the mount point. And with the butt ends of the hair extended over the hook eye, I take my scissors and cut the butts directly in front of the eye. Then I'll secure the hair to the hook with several high tension wraps. And now that I've got the wing secure, I'll move the thread in front of the butt ends. And I'm maintaining that high thread tension. And it's close to the breaking point of my thread. Going to take a few wraps here and grab a half-hitch tool to secure things and push back on the head just a bit. And it looks like I have a few straggler hairs to deal with, but that's okay. I'm going to do a whip finish next before grooming the fly a bit. Okay, gonna finish this fly by tidying up a few things. A few butt ends of the deer hair found their way to the underside of the head, so I'll trim those up. And a few hackle fibers went vertical out the back of the fly, so I'll get rid of them. Gonna give these palmward hackle fibers just a bit of a haircut. And finally shape up the head just a bit. So that's the Black Caddis. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a link in the description to countryroadsfly.com where you can find written instructions and the material list for this fly, as well as lots of other cool stuff. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.